Welcome, everyone, to the Game Vault Podcast. I am your host, Tom Schuster. It gives me great pleasure to say, joining me tonight is Jenny Aquino and Mark Myers.
Hello. Good to be back.
Hello, everyone. And I'm glad. Oh, man. Oh, I don't have to carry the podcast anymore.
Your poor back.
It was only like a year, Mark. It's fine.
No, I say that in all jokingly. It's good to have you back, Jen. And
thank you.
It's
good to be back.
We got the band back together.
It's nice to have the full crew here.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And tonight we're going to be covering some of the latest news, trying to dissect why kids aren't buying games, and we're going to review our Retro Roulette game, Ghostbusters II, for the NES. But before we get to all of that, what have you been playing? Jen, what have you been playing on your maternity leave?
So there was a long stretch of time where I wasn't playing anything. And believe it or not, I started getting back into gaming when I had a little bit of free time by playing a mobile game. So real throwback to the early GVP days
surprise.
Here. No surprise. So I started playing Whiteout Survival, which is, I forget the exact term for it, but basically you have your own village and you level up and then you can join a clan, I think they call it, with other people. And then you can battle other people outside of your group, or you can battle other kingdoms eventually. So it has like a frozen winter tundra theme to it. I don't really understand why I like it as much as I do, to be honest. I think it's just a really good time killer, and there's a bunch of like little quests that you can do, and you just level up your village in different ways. So I've been having fun with that over the past probably like 7 months now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's definitely a game where it's very pay to win-esque, where you can level up a lot faster and you gain power quicker if you buy things, but I'm not doing that. I'm just doing it the free way, and it's still fun, which is nice. And they have all kinds of little events and like side games and stuff. So that's been fun. I've been playing Phasmophobia, which we'll probably talk about a little bit later, I'm assuming, in more detail. But that's been really great. I started streaming not that long ago, so I've been playing that on stream a bit with friends, which is really nice. I think Phasmo is probably what got me back into streaming as much as I have been lately, just because, it's one of my favorite games to play on stream, and I get to play with other people in the community, so that's always nice. I've also been playing Dead by Daylight. There's not really much new there. They just released a Five Nights at Freddy's chapter, which is like been a huge ask from the FNAF community for so long, for years and years and years, and now we can finally stop hearing them ask for it, which is amazing. But that killer's kind of broken.
As I said, the real question is, was it worth it? Was it worth the wait?
I think it's cool. So we have Springtrap. I think he's cool. His chase music is really fun. It's an interesting concept where they add the security doors to his map specifically. Actually, okay. I think they follow him. I'm pretty sure they follow him actually to whatever map he's on. Kind of like the Ring killer, Sadako, her TVs or wherever. I haven't gone up against Springtrap too much because he's a little bit broken right now. He throws axes at you, and the hitbox on the axes are like out of control crazy. Like they go through buildings, they go through structures that are just trees that are in the way, and they hit you. It's very messed up currently, so people aren't very happy with Springtrap, but I think it's worth it as long as they can fix all that stuff.
Yeah, I feel like a game like that, it's always about, introducing something, seeing how the players break it, and then fixing around it. Especially if you're running an ongoing game. I feel like that's the treadmill.
Especially because Dead by Daylight at this point, it's 9 years old, I think. Yeah, because they just had their 9-year anniversary. And they're basically operating off of spaghetti code at this point. And people have been asking for a Dead by Daylight 2 instead of Dead by Daylight update 1 million. And the whole thing about spaghetti code is when something breaks, it takes 1 million years longer to figure it out and then fix it. And then you're just basically putting a Band-Aid over whatever the issue is. So
I'm still getting over the fact of the 9-year anniversary.
Yeah.
I remember playing the 4-year birthday. with
Right.
you.
It's crazy. I actually recently logged into my PS4 after many years, probably like almost
You-
4 years.
Did it
And
scream when you turned it on?
it did not, surprisingly. I had to update it, that's for sure. But I logged into Dead by Daylight, and it for a second I got a glimpse of the old Dead by Daylight, which was pretty cool, and then it was like, this game is very out of date and needs to be updated. But when I last played on the PlayStation, they didn't have cross progression yet, which they do now. So it was cool to download all of my progress from the PlayStation onto my Steam account. So now I have like all of my old charms and like some of my old
nice.
add-ons and offerings and like, yeah, cosmetics and stuff. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, I mean, Dead by Daylight is the same.
It's something they should have implemented a lot longer ago than that.
Yeah, I forget when they did it. I don't remember if it was 2023 or if it was sometime last year, but it was fairly recent that they did the cross progression, and the even cross play I think came out first, and then cross progression was after. But yeah, that's always nice when a game does that.
Yes, we love that.
Yeah. Trying to think. Oh, I've been back to my villain arc, as Goat said on stream. I started playing Neon White again. That is a game that I loved, and it was so competitive and like frustrating in a good way that I stopped playing it. You know, if anyone remembers back in the day, Mark and I battling constantly in Neon White for times. But my friend Landsleader, who also streams on Twitch, he I think was just looking for a different game to play and came across Neon White in the summer sale on Steam and mentioned it to me like as an offhand, like, oh, I'm thinking about playing this game. And I was like, oh my God, that's such a good game, but just beware, you're going to be so anxious and frustrated. So he was like, oh, you played? So I said, yeah, you're friends with me on Steam, so you'll see my times. And he was like, oh, I guess I'm going to have to beat them. And I was like, please don't. Mark had already beaten most of my times, and then he was playing it on stream, and I was like, God, it's calling me back. So we've been battling over the past couple of weeks, and I'm proud to say, as of this recording, I took back almost all of my times.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
Just so the audience knows, I haven't started playing yet again.
So. That's right. There is one level, I think Bounce. If you remember which one that is, you have me by like a couple milliseconds. So
okay.
I don't know.
What's the one that's like 6 seconds, like 5 seconds? There's one that you like.
Oh, that's the second one. That's Pummel. No, I can't. Yeah. I can't pull off the world record run on Pummel. I started out competing to get my times back, just doing what I remember doing the first time I played. And then people were giving me tips in chat, and then, people were giving him tips in chat. So I was like, well, let me just look and see what the quickest possible thing is, and then try to figure out something in the middle, because I can't pull off half of the things that these speedrunners do, because it's insane.
Yeah, there's this one level that you literally cut off 3/4 of the map by like jumping and then going through the door at the corner and then landing and then jumping onto a pillar, and then you jump right into the exit. It's like 5.5 seconds.
Oh, I don't know. That's not Pummel then. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's like really fast. And I didn't perfect it, obviously, but it was one of the first ones that I got. Whatever at the time the highest badge was. I know they've introduced more colors to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the one that there's little stupid hints. Like I gave you the one hint that I know, the using the pillar to like sort of hit your head on.
Yes, that actually was insanely helpful. The thing is, like, obviously you want to try to do it yourself and figure it out and whatever. But when it comes to a game like that, even if someone is literally telling you every single step what you have to do, it's so difficult because it's so quick, and one tiny little mistake either sets you back in time way more than you'd ever think, or you just completely mess it up and there's no way to keep going. You have to restart.
Yeah, and this isn't saying I have skill in it, but you can learn all the steps, and it's just the skill of pulling it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, like, you have to be able to do it, which is a lot of quick reflexes, as you mentioned. Yeah,
high DPS on your mouse, which I don't do well with. So it's definitely, it's crazy. Like the speedrun record on Pummel, which is the second map in the beginning, you're hitting your head on the pillar and like you're clipping up onto the platform, which I can do now most of the time. but you have to run straight forward and drop the bomb at a certain time and then like spin in a circle backwards, shooting like the little demons around you and then land in a certain area. It's just like insane that someone can pull this off purposely. And I'm not even going to attempt that because there's no way. Like, that's way beyond my skill set, and I'm okay with that.
I remember you guys talking about one of the levels where you had figured out the shortcut. I forget what the name of it is, where you can completely ignore like the pier area.
Oh, gunner,
Yeah, and just go another way, and it cuts like 5 seconds off your time.
Yes,
and you I remember in the stream I was watching, you kept going, "Did Lance figure that out yet?"
I was nervous playing on stream because I mean it's jokingly nervous. I was like, man, like I feel like I stumbled upon something so great here, and if he sees this, he's gonna be like, oh, and pull off that level better than me because he is really good with a high DPS mouse where he can like spin around and have control. And meanwhile, I'm like, blah, like all over the place, like spraying and praying. So that is something, once he figures out that exact strategy that I'm doing, he's gonna kick my ass for sure. Probably come close to the world record because that's what you have to be able to do. It's just spin with like incredible precision, and I can't, but I'm trying. But yeah, I look forward to your return, Mark, and more anxiety. But it's been a lot of fun, and it's a game that even if you're not into speedrunning, I would recommend it to almost everyone to at least try. It'll definitely bring out your competitive nature if you have one. But it's very pretty. The music is awesome, and it's a fun game in general. If you like puzzles and stuff like that, it's fun to figure out how to navigate some of the maps and stuff. So,
and there is a story to it.
And there is a story, and for sure. If you're into, it's not obviously not like a dating sim or anything, but there's a little bit of as I think Lance put it, weeb stuff going on in parts of it. So I don't know if that calls to you. Maybe that's an extra bonus, but I'm trying to think. I played Ark a little bit. My computer's having a moment where I think I need a new GPU, so Arc Ascended, which is the newer version of Evolved, it's really struggling horribly. So I might need a new GPU soon.
I mean, I think you're 3 generations old now, at least.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, most games are still okay, which is good, but this one is so poorly optimized to begin with, and then it's just
Arc's been garbage with that stuff for forever. I feel like.
Yeah,
even Evolved.
Yeah, Evolved I had to tweak some settings, but Ascended is so bad that technically like the bare minimum GPU is like the 1000 series, whatever they said it was. I'm like, there's no way, because I have a 2060 and I have to put all of my settings down to the absolute lowest level, and it looks like I'm playing a game that's like 20 years old. It's horrible. So I don't know who they're trying to kid with that, but you need to have at least a 3000, if not 4, to play this game well. But whatever. I think that's it. I don't think I've been playing much else recently.
Yeah, Jen, so if you need a new phone game, may I introduce you to Uma Musume Pretty Derby.
Oh, that was a mobile game?
I think you can play it elsewhere, but yes, I believe it is on mobile.
That's funny. Yeah, can't wait.
For those of you out there that don't know, that is a horse girl game. And by horse girl, I mean anime ladies with horse ears and horse tails running around a horse track.
Yeah. I'm so confused by the whole thing. That's
I gotta say, the horse names were like cracking me up.
Yeah, the fun part is that I've learned more lore by people. They're all real horses in Japan, or in the history of Japanese horse racing.
Okay.
The names. And if
that makes it even weirder.
And I mean, it's Japan. And
nobody
and the personalities and histories of the horses are like built into the characters. So I think there's one weird. There's one that's like never won a race, and she's like really hard to win a race with in the game. And there's one that's just goofy and sometimes won't listen to you. And
I'm gonna go out and say it. That makes it worse.
I think so too, kind of, because they're putting so much effort into like honoring the history of these racehorses by making them into anime girls, and it doesn't make sense.
And there's 2 other things to add. One, that one I was talking about. There's a story about him one time being in a race, and he hated a horse so much that he did not care about the race. He just wanted to knock that horse off the track. Um,
Oh no.
Terrible.
I don't have much history with horses. Jen definitely has more than I do, in terms of riding horses and stuff like that. But yeah, it seems like if this horse got something in his mind, he would not listen to his jockey. And then the other thing is, what was it? There's like one of the horses, or maybe all of them, or something. You can go online and donate hay to them.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
To feed them.
I'm back on board.
And this
Hopefully
one
that's
person
real.
got.
It's still weird. I don't know.
It's still weird.
And whichever horse it was, or a horse in the game, got like 100 pounds of hay or something ridiculous.
So these are current horses. These are not
there's some current, some old.
Okay. Well,
all the gaming podcasts I listen to have played this game, so that's where I'm getting this lore from.
Gotcha.
I have not touched it.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I won't touch it.
This sounds like.
Don't say it like that, Mark.
I'm just curious if anyone knows if Rice Shower, Grass Wonder, and Symbolic Rudolph are current racehorses, because those are my favorite names.
Yeah, I don't know the specific ones, but yeah, it's just. Yeah, and the two things that you're to worry. There is no romance in the game.
Okay, that's good. That's what we were really concerned about.
They say there's no romance in the game, but
well, yeah.
I mean, you can make anything.
Yes.
And two, they do not turn more into horses as the game goes along. If anybody was worried,
they don't say that again.
They don't turn more into horses.
Like animorphs.
They're just they don't animorph.
They're
I don't know if that would be better or not. I just don't know.
I don't know. The fact that they're anthropomorphic makes it makes it weird. It just if they were just horses, it'd be fine. But they're not.
That question about the more horses was as somebody on a podcast I was listening to was like just pause side and was like, do they turn more into horses as you level them up? And the guy playing the game was like, no, they just stay anime girls.
That's so. The whole thing is so weird.
I wanted to make sure I talked about that here because talking about it by myself on the news hour would be sad.
Well, let me get my stuff out of the way because I'm sure Mark has played more than I have. So, real quick, I have been playing Final Fantasy IX. I made it to Disc 2. This is the furthest I've ever gotten in this game.
Now, what was the? This isn't much of a spoiler. What was the end of this one? If I say it was raining, am I correct?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, then I know. Okay, I was pretty sure that was the end of this one.
Yeah, there was a big boss fight, which turns out to be a nothing burger.
Yeah. That might be the easiest boss fight in the there.
I didn't get the cheap blue magic that can end it in one hit, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, but how you like it?
I'm really enjoying it. The characters are wild. So I found Kina.
Yep.
And that's your blue mage. So for anyone who doesn't know what a blue mage is, a blue mage learns spells kind of the way that the enemy skill material works in Final Fantasy VII. It kind of works similarly. You could tell this came out around when Pokemon came out because you need to weaken an enemy, and then you need to use the specific ability called Eat. You have to eat the enemy, and then you will learn a spell based on that. Which is interesting. You can't learn stuff from every enemy, which I think is funny because I don't know gender, so I'm going to say they for Kina. I don't know what their gender. I don't know if they have one. I don't know if those people have one.
No, they just like to eat.
Yeah, the Q are they're just kind of like chefs. They're all chefs. So they'll eat something and then they'll go, that tastes bad, and then you don't learn anything. So it's pretty funny. But yeah, I've got Kina and I've got Freya, the red mage. So I've got a red mage, blue mage, a black mage, and a thief, which is a terrible combination.
You have the black mage,
right? I have the black mage, but it's such a terrible that combination of characters is so hard because you have no healing at all. So you have to buy tons of potions and high potions, and if you don't, you're screwed. or you have to buy a ton of tents, one or the other. I did not do the exploit where you can get a ton of money in the beginning of the game. I didn't know about it until after the fact.
Yeah.
But I will be doing it once I get to a point where I can. But yeah, I have little money, and that party is very difficult to get through that part of the game with if you're not properly leveled.
Yeah.
But I've just gotten back to what is the town? Trino.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to steal something to further the story. I'm about to do that set of missions or mission, but I'm really enjoying it. The music is great. It looks beautiful. It's hard to believe how far they came from 1997 to 2000, and that was only a 3-year stretch that you went from little chibi, weird-looking things to what you have in Final Fantasy IX on the same platform.
Yeah. Even
Pretty
7
wild.
to 8 is a ridiculous jump.
7, 8 is pretty ridiculous, but 9 is gorgeous. All the backgrounds are gorgeous.
Yeah, because that was the whole fight behind the scenes.
Right. They wanted they wanted to look like a diorama, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this because the guys at Resonant Arc are doing a podcast based on Final Fantasy IX, and I figured I have not finished Final Fantasy IX, so what better reason than to do a play along instead of a watch along? I'm doing a play along with their podcast. So if you haven't listened to it, right after you finish listening to this one, go listen to that one. It's pretty good. But other than that, I have been dialing in a PC, trying to figure out, best settings, best cards to use that I have around the house. I just upgraded the PC that streams all of my Retro Roulette stuff and all of my Final Fantasy VI gameplay. And it's just been upgrading a PC should not have been this difficult for whatever reason. It's just like, I don't know why, but things were just fighting me. Jen knows what I'm talking about. She went through the same type of thing.
I was going to say, there must be something going on lately with technology. It's coming after both of us.
Yeah, I mean, really, it just came down to I didn't do enough. I just kind of rushed it, and I didn't do enough research into the stuff I bought. Like I bought a motherboard that had 3 M.2 slots. So I was like, great, I'll have 3 drives on this. That'll be great. But I forgot, for whatever reason, once you plug a card into the second 516 slot, you lose that third M.2 slot. So it's like, why is my capture card not working? Why is my capture card not working? And it's not working because I have 3 M.2 drives. So as soon as I took that out, capture card worked. We were golden. So I had to lose a M.2 slot, which is unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. But it's just one of those things. And I have a 3080 Ti and I have a 6800 XT. I was planning on using the 3080 Ti because it's technically a little better for 4K because it's on a 4K screen. So I get it all installed. I set everything to 4K 120 because the TV can do 120 hertz, and the audio keeps dropping out. I'm like, why does the audio keep dropping out? It keeps like it'll work for a minute and then it'll drop, and it'll work for a minute and it'll drop. So because I discovered it when we did the last Final Fantasy VI stream. So I looked it up online after the fact, and apparently it's a huge thing with the 3000 series cards trying to do 4K 120. Like they all don't work for whatever reason. Like they all have this problem. And I was like, awesome. I wish I would have known this before I did the whole build. I wouldn't have even bothered putting it in there. So I had to swap cards again because I took it out of the one system to put it in another, and it was just, this is the whole thing. But yeah, everything's working right now. I'm planning on upgrading the system I'm doing this podcast on at some point, but it has a water cooler on it, and those are a pain in the ass to swap. So I'm like waiting as long as possible to do that.
Is that because of the risk of it leaking, or is it because
it's just the way they mount?
Complicated.
It can be, and I have to dig out the box for the mount because the system that it's in right now is an Intel system, and the one that I'm going to put in is an AMD system. So they're 2 different mounting plates and different mounting brackets that go on the pump. So I have to swap the mount on the pump itself, and I have to put a new mount on the AMD board before I put it in there. So it's just going to be time consuming, and you know as well as anybody else, time is at a premium these days.
Sure is.
I only get a few hours a night, so I want to get it done in the night. I don't want to leave it hanging.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been up to.
All right. So I won't spend too much time. But the game I've been playing the most, obviously, is a little indie title called Death Stranding 2 on the Beach.
Tiny game.
By an unknown creator, Hideo Kojima?
He's a real up and comer, that Kojima.
Yeah. Yes. So this game, I'll just give my brief thoughts here because I talk about it every week on the News Hour. Because I'm not going to spoil it here for anybody. But I think the main thing about that game is it gives a lot of the same things as the first game in terms of gameplay and things like that. A lot of quality of life stuff makes it much better. The one thing that some people dislike that I like is you can almost go everywhere in a vehicle, so you don't really have to engage in the climbing with the ladders and the ropes and stuff like that if you don't want to. I could see that being a downside because people like a challenge. I think it's just sometimes gets annoying. You make one slip and then all your stuff is broken when you could just drive there. But that quality of life stuff is good. I am back on my bullshit building roads.
I forgot about that.
I have two different roads that I think are going to meet up at some point that I'm building on two different ends of the map. Good thing is that I can fast travel a little bit. I can store all my materials on my giant ship that goes through the tar. Don't worry about it. And that can get me from one end of the map to the other pretty quickly for that purpose. But they also put in a monorail system. Which I've also completed in the game. I don't know how good it is for our streamer audience when I'm going back and forth. Goat swears it's fine, and he's there every week, or every session. So I believe him. But yeah, the quality of life stuff's great. The roads, there's more roads to do. They've added some really interesting. I don't know how they've never really affected me, but there's like these chiral creatures that sort of sap your battery. I'm assuming if you're walking, they're more dangerous because they can gang up on you. And there's also spiders there. So your arachnophobia people out there may not enjoy some parts of this game. But yeah, overall, the story is better. In terms that it feels like there's an actual theme. What the theme is, recovering from, loss and, dealing with, the world. It's like there's a theme. I'm trying not to say too much because it would spoil some things. But, the last game didn't really feel like it had a theme. It was just like, let's connect the world and show you some goofy shit. This actually feels like they're building towards something. He's probably not going to stick the landing because he never really sticks the landing with the stuff. But I'm glad that it's doing better with that. The acting is great from the people that understand what the game is going for. Troy Baker's amazing. The guy that voices Doll Man, which is your little doll friend, like puppet doll.
Jen, I don't know if you know about him. He's interesting.
Yeah.
No, I haven't really seen anything about.
Yeah, I gotta find. I gotta clip one of the episodes. There's a special moment with Doll Man.
Okay.
That occurs. And just all that. The only one, God bless her heart, she's a award-winning actress, but Leah Sado, I don't think she understands the weirdness of the game, and she's just playing it straight, and it sometimes doesn't work.
Which character is she?
She's fragile.
Oh yeah, she doesn't get it.
Yeah, she plays it straight, and everyone else is goofy and a little over exaggerate, and she just plays it straight, and it's just like it's a really good performance, but it just doesn't fit in a lot.
As we like to say on TC Tam, as you guys like to say on TC Tam, serious as a heart attack.
Yes, yes, she plays it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll learn that that's a choice. Like, there's a reason she's like that in this game. But yeah, but all that stuff's great. Hartman, it's that whole thing with him is weird. That's the guy, for those who don't know, this isn't spoiling anything, it's from the first game. He dies every 21 minutes so that he can go to his beach because he's searching for his wife and kids that died on the the beginning of the Death Stranding. So he dies for 3 minutes every 21 minutes.
Yes, that's dark.
So, yeah. So he literally like has a heart attack, and then it feels weird laughing. And
you can laugh. It's freaking weird. You can laugh. That's fine.
Speaking of quality of life things, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but they even improved quality of life for Hartman in this game. It's a really funny thing that they did for him in this. But overall, the main thing I'll say, game looks gorgeous. I'm playing on, as I like to jokingly call, a PS5 amateur, and it looks fantastic. I can't imagine if a pro does anything. I want to see it on PC when it finally gets there. It's ridiculous. I'm playing on quality mode on there because the combat shit. So I don't even know if playing at 60 would help the combat at all.
Well, the combat wasn't great in the first one either, was it?
I hate fighting BTs, which are the like tar creatures. All my fighting with the human creatures is fine and fun, but yeah, I don't like the tar creatures. I think it's just too much. But game looks gorgeous. Soundtrack's really good. It got us dinged a couple of times, not DMCA or any copyright strikes, but like if we ever want to monetize YouTube, we wouldn't be able to make any money off it. For some reason, it's not getting muted on Twitch, but it's getting dinged on YouTube.
Apparently, there's a big thing going on in YouTube. I won't get into, but apparently that's been a problem. Like music use has been a big problem. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So that's just been weird. But I'm about 30 hours in at this point. I don't know how far into the game I actually am. I think we've met every character just about in some form or another. So unless if they're surprise characters, I think I've met everyone. But yeah, the delivering still feels great. I like some of the new additions, like they have guns for your car now, and one of the guns picks up packages as you're driving by it.
Nice.
To help. Yeah, and and they have a fast travel system now, where you used to have to. It still does the same fast travel where you can jump from points in the last game, but here you can set up your own fast travels. So if you build this thing and you put it in one place and you connect it to another one in another place, you can fast travel between them. I think that's how it works. I haven't set it up yet. But I think it costs like a lot of material to do, but that's a cool system. But yeah, I haven't seen any of the weird stuff. I heard there's some weird stuff coming, especially when you find the first hot spring, that I need to look out for. And the final thing I'll say, and then I'll get on to my real quick short ones. The man, Kojima, literally put his studio in the world of Death Stranding. Because one of the characters says, "Oh, like the production company, Kojima Productions."
Oh my God! Stop.
I
think if Ant was playing the game, he'd throw his PS5 out the window.
Yeah, and I think they even mentioned one of the actors. I think they mentioned Elle Fanning.
So she's she's
playing canon. A character. Yeah, she's playing a character in the game, and I think they mentioned Elle Fanning. Because there's this thing where you get books now, and I could talk about this game all day. This will be the last thing. You look the book, Sam picks up the book, opens it, starts looking like he's reading it, and then all of a sudden Dollman will spoil the shit out of the book. Like he picks it up literally the first time. Me and Goat were dying on stream. First book you pick up is Moby Dick, and he literally spoils the entire plot of Moby Dick and the twist and all that stuff. Like literally just spoils the entire thing. And I think me and Goat at the same time went, whoa, Dollman, I'm on page 2.
That's great.
But yeah, there's other books. There's Frankenstein's in there, and just I don't know how Kojima's connecting them all, but they all have some meaning to what the story is telling. But yeah, literally the first time you pick up a new book, Dollman just spoils it completely. And it's just funny. So that's Death Stranding 2. We're going to be playing more of it. probably not as much as I want this weekend, because everything this week, as I've been preparing to go on vacation, has made me not have any free time. And not like, I know you guys different, no free time with kids, but it's like I've had something to do every night.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I got dropped with a surprise, not a surprise party, but a surprise birthday party for a cousin tomorrow. And that was just told about today. And I'm like, well, I was going to spend all day Saturday playing Death Stranding before I went on vacation. So I'm trying. This is more for the audience. I know Ant laughed at me when I said I haven't played enough of the football game, but I'm in like season 2, which means I played at least 15 games of it. But what I mean is for the audience. I want to play more for the audience that comes. And by the statistics, I mean I want to play more for GOAT. Essentially. Yes. Yeah, but anyway, when we play a lot more of it. Sports wise, I actually have not touched NCAA since Sunday. But that game's fun. I've seen a lot of people complain about it, but it seems like it's a lot of people playing online. There is Dynasty stuff that I haven't run into yet that they point out. I haven't had any really freaky glitches or bugs in the game yet. But everything's great. We didn't get hit. I put the NCAA game up on both, I think, YouTube and it was on Twitch, and Metallica did not hit us for letting Enter Sandman play.
I can't believe that Lars didn't come to your house.
That is pretty awesome. They even got the crowd like singing it like they do at Virginia Tech. So I mean, I'm excited to see the other ones that have like sing-alongs with it. So the games, a lot of the improvements are good on the recruiting side. I love it. Still playing NHL. Just trying to, again, finish that season and see how much of a ridiculous goal record I can make with this one player. That's more of it's like 10 o'clock and I want to play one game, and I know I will get sucked into NCAA for 2 hours if I play it. Because I was like, just one more game with the football. I'm playing that. And for stream, for the Retro Roulette endurance run, which is a thing I do every Monday, I am playing through the original Mega Man. We are 4 Robot Masters down. I'm currently on the Iceman stage. And so far, my issues with the Iceman stage have nothing to do with the ice part and everything to do with ridiculous platforming. This is one of the first levels that has multiple disappearing block jump puzzles.
My least favorite.
And then there's a part I'm at now where literally I have not figured out the rotation of these moving platforms that you have to jump on. They're like the what's it called in like Super Mario, where like the 2 platforms come together and you got to sort of time it to jump from one to the other.
Yeah.
Where that might even be more of a Sonic thing, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. These guys have no pattern. Like sometimes I'll get on one and it'll be right there and I can jump on the next. Sometimes I'll have to sit and go back and forth. And while I'm going back and forth, things are shooting. So I'm avoiding those things while trying not to miss the jump. And it's just, I get frustrated, but not annoyed, because all I remember is that I spent 45 minutes to an hour trying to beat one jumping puzzle in 8-3 in Adventure Island. So anything is possible, after that. But so far Mega Man looks like I can see a lot of the things they improved, because 2 is the one I played the most, from this to 2. But it just seems hard for hard's sake. It's definitely an old arcade game, for sure. You can see where they made it so that you would intentionally lose life. There's like no way to avoid it. There are probably ways to get no hit runs. I am not good enough at the game to get that. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. We have coming up. I'm going to try and do some Tony Hawk 3+4 on my own. To see. I want to see if I can get good at it. Somebody mentioned that if you want a bit of an easier is to go and change all the tricks to make them up, down in the button.
Up, down, or left, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either one will help.
Yeah. So I'm going to go see if quote unquote dumbing it down will make it easier for me. But yeah, that's the plan. And then, once we get done everything, you got Metal Gear Delta coming in August. In August. So yeah, I am, and Neon White, obviously. I will be. I'll let Jen get comfortable with her times, and then I'll just come in, rip through them all, and then
my God.
and just copy and paste the things into her chat one time while she's chatting, while she's not playing Neon White.
Yep. Yeah, to make me want to just shut my game down immediately and jump over to Neon White.
Yeah, just when you're playing that one game, then I can remind you there's actually a fun game.
I see. I see what's happening here.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
All right. Well, it's great to hear that everybody's back into gaming, and hopefully we'll be playing some more stuff and letting you guys know about it, because we like to do that. We like to let you know what stuff is good and what stuff is not good. Well, we get into that too. But now we're going to get into some of the latest happenings in the gaming world. Mark, I don't know if you want to lead this off.
Yeah, with which one are we starting with?
You know what? Whatever you feel like. Dealer's choice.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah. So I guess the two, we got two stories here, but I think the one that's interesting, because I think you guys are going to start running into it, is there's, and it would lead into the other one, is the younger generation not really playing video games. I feel that I see that with my youngest niece, as I keep trying to get her to play single player games, and show her there's a whole world out there. But yeah, I was reading that story, and it was just like the percentage of sales are down because everybody's buying like 3 games, and then that's all they're playing. As Jen mentioned with Dead by Daylight, that game just keeps updating. People keep playing it. Fortnite's the same way. And I just feel like I guess the question I want to throw at you guys before we start throwing out theories, like, at what point did we decide that, it was okay to play single player games? Because I know we all played games with friends and family members, like multiplayer, but to just like peel off and play a game on your own, did that just, because it's weird. I'm trying to figure out how to get Kitty Ashcat to play something else besides Marvel Rivals and what's the game? The Tom Clancy game, Siege.
Yeah.
I was like, you can do other things. You don't have to. But I don't know if we need to start there. It was like, how did we get to that point? And is it just something we have to that's just what they're going to do?
Mark, I think that's just the way it's going to be, because we grew up with just single player games. Like, that was all that existed. I mean, there was multiplayer games, but it wasn't constantly online and you could constantly play with somebody. That just didn't exist. We started with single player, then we went to multiplayer online stuff, and then we went, okay, we had enough of that. We're going to come back to the original stuff. At least that's my opinion. They grew up with only online multiplayer stuff. So unless you find something that is specifically made for Kitty Ashcat, like, wow, this is the perfect story, I don't think you're going to find it. I don't, because they didn't grow up with like a Super Mario being the only game they had for a year or 2 years or whatever. You know what I mean?
A little spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even that. It's just like there's so much choice, and it's not this. I mean, old man yells at cloud. It's not the way it used to be.
Yeah. The thing, as you mentioned, it's just I want to say the biggest blame, and I'll let Jen jump in, is that when they're talking about games with their friends, they're talking about the multiplayer games they're playing with their friends, and not this cool game that their friend found. That's a single player game. I think that's part of the difference now too.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty much in the same boat with what Tom said. It's because I remember when she first really started getting into gaming, she was big into horror games. So she really liked Poppy Playtime. So something like that is a single player game. I believe, I don't think it's also, that too. Something like that's geared towards exactly what you're interested in. Or like for me, I could always go back to Skyrim because of the kind of game it is. So as long as there's something in a single player game that's calling to the younger generation, like Tom said, I think that's going to get them away from multiplayer gaming. But it's hard because there's all these different kinds of multiplayer games too. You have Phasmo, which is like a casual party type game, and then you have Marvel Rivals, which is super intense and competitive. So there is a very wide scope of multiplayer games as well that we're competing with from the single player gaming genre.
Yeah, and I mean, the other problem is you have games that have games within them, like Roblox.
I was going to mention that.
Yes, that was what I was going to mention eventually too.
So you don't need another game because you can just make the game you want to play in Roblox or whatever you could do stuff in Fortnite. You can build stuff in Fortnite and Minecraft and whatever. It's there's so many opportunities to do stuff in those games too that they wouldn't want to go and play something else. They could just make whatever they want to play in those games, and that's it. Again, to get somebody to play a specific single player game, it's got to be the perfect story for them. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a game for all of us that you can pick up and play, and you can go back to it year after year and play it and be okay with it.
Yeah,
at least I know what mine are. I'm sure you guys have a game like that too.
Yeah, I think the Roblox thing is probably the worst thing to happen to the video. Not the worst thing. I'm being very hyperbolic. To happen to the video game industry. There's much things worse, but I just wanted to finish that sentence just to make sure everybody knew what I was going to say there before I had that realization. What I mean by that is, it got all these kids playing these games basically for free. For the most part, and then the industry that was selling $70 games couldn't convince these kids to buy these $70 games because they're like, why would I do that? For some reason, this generation, like, graphics didn't matter at all,
which is so interesting.
Yeah, like, it was just like having fun with your friends and Minecraft and all, and I think that's the biggest thing we're running up against. And I think the dip in younger people buying games is obviously having an effect on the games we get to play because there's not as much funding to make, for studios to take chances on newer single player stuff because, they have to make the money. And, Microsoft's layoffs and all that stuff is a prime example of that because, it's always about you need to make a certain percentage more every month or every year. And if people aren't buying games, and like 20-year-olds with disposable income, they're not buying they're not going out and getting like even Claire Obscure, or some single player game like that. No, they're using all their income for skins in Fortnite or getting, I saw on that one financial guy that yells at people on YouTube clip where the one girl literally took out a payday loan so she could buy the Sabrina Carpenter skin in Fortnite. And they had a nice joke before he did yell at her. He was like, well, it is Sabrina Carpenter. I get it. But that's what I mean. Like, that's what they're buying. They're not saving up to buy, the next game. They're saving up to buy something within the game they're already playing. And I think that has a lot to do with the numbers going down. And I think it's going to have a trickle down effect. But the funny part is that eventually they start moving towards, at least going to console and PC rather than Roblox. But I think Roblox is such a bad onboard, despite all this, security concerns with it. Anyway, because
Mark, there's one other thing I'd like to bring up. I think there's no ownership anymore. Like when we bought a game, we owned the game.
Yeah.
And we could, I could take it with me and play it at a friend's house. That doesn't exist anymore. Not with games that kids want to play. It's on a phone. And that's why they think money's not real because they don't have to pay money they don't have to pay real money, physical money to, play the game. It's just there. It's on the computer. It's on the phone. I don't know. It's just that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and the one last thing I'll mention about Roblox is the funny thing about it was my niece Ash got really good at Splatoon before she ever touched Splatoon, because there was a Splatoon knockoff in Roblox that she got really good at. So we fired up Splatoon 3, I think, at the time, and she was like getting top of the leaderboard in that game without like first time playing it, because she had been playing this knockoff for like months. And that was a kind of a funny thing. Like, just, you're talking about, as Tom said, you can go into Roblox and just make the game you want to play. Somebody was like, I can't afford, Splatoon, so I'm going to make Splatoon, in this game. Which, that ingenuity, maybe it'll have a thing on the back end when Gen Alpha gets, older. But yeah, the main thing with it is I don't know if this is like us becoming old people yelling at clouds and stuff like that. But I just get worried that, there's not going to be, any risk taking with games if the trend keeps going. And that's even in the live service thing. Like, if something doesn't hit immediately, they're going to pull it. Like, Concord's like a good example of that.
Right.
I mean, I think we're already there, Mark.
I was going to say, we're seeing that happen all the time now.
And I think this will kind of go into what we're talking about later.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was trying to lead into that.
Yeah. So everybody tried to copy GTA, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of ebbs and flows as we go on. Whatever GTA 6 does, everybody's going to do, because that game's going to sell 100 million copies. And that's the big scale. I feel like that's like the GTA effect. Like, as soon as they do one thing, everybody's got to do it. GTA's got shark cards. We got to have V-Bucks in Fortnite. GTA's got, cars now, so everything else has to have cars. I just feel like that's part of it. It's also on a much smaller scale. Yeah. Jen can attest to this. I feel like every time you turn around, there's another like horror strategy game that you have to find ghosts or whatever, ghost hunting or.
Oh yeah, there's a ton now. It's crazy.
Yeah, Go ahead. Yeah, I was going to say all the copying. I guess that leads into the second topic with basically GTA and a whole bunch of the how big of a force it is that there were so many delays because of GTA. And it's just like you said, there's no game that, even if, like, Fortnite in a way is the same way, that has such a gravitational force around it. Like, you don't want to be right before it, you don't want to be right after it, because either way you're not going to make money, and
no one's going to remember your game.
Nobody's going to remember your game. And that was why I wanted to lead with the kids thing leading into this. I think the success of GTA 6, and this isn't going to be a big grandiose thing, but I think the success of that will be the litmus test for essentially where the industry is in terms of people buying games. Like, if it does well, but like stays at like the same level as 5 did in terms of sales right off the bat, then it's like, all right, there's like, the audience is now limited, because it's basically the same people buying the game that bought 5. Like, that younger audience that has grown into their 20s isn't buying it.
5's weird because it's been around for 10 years. How long has 5 been around? Since the PS3, years. Right? Yeah. It came out on the PS3 and the 360.
Yeah, 2013, I believe.
That's crazy to think like that's. It's been so long.
12 years that GTA 5 has been around.
Yeah. But
I still haven't played it, mind you. I own it. I've still never played it.
2013.
It turned into a games as a service when GTA Online was launched, and I think they're missing GTA Online on launch again, right? With this one, with 6. That's what they've been saying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's going to be, because they're doing things to GTA Online that I think they're trying to like.
Are they trying to bridge it?
Yeah, trying to force people to switch to whatever the 6 multiplayer is going to be.
Yeah.
And they're going to find out, just like some other games that try to, Overwatch being a good example of it, where, it's hard to get people.
Well,
to
Can
switch
you
off
imagine?
something they
Can
love.
you imagine how many hours people have put into their
Yeah.
GTA Online accounts?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's
crazy.
And
yeah,
amount.
that's the
they have
issue.
not said they haven't said what they're going to do yet. They haven't said like, oh, you're going to have to start over, or oh, you're going to be able to move all your stuff over. They haven't said that yet because it's not going to be the same engine. It's not going to look the same. So I don't know how they're going to go about doing that without pissing off everybody.
Yeah, and the funny part about it is that, you know, even like a mediocre launch is still going to have the ripple effect of everything around it. In terms of if it's not like an immediate buy-in because people are waiting for online, whatever those sales are is still going to affect everything. My thought is I'm just waiting to see what those numbers are to like sort of see if the games as a service that they did for so long with GTA 5 and all the other stuff that's sprung up since 2013 is affecting a release like GTA that you would think would make like monster sales immediately.
This game's gonna be a juggernaut.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just want to see what level it is of juggernaut.
like
That's just
it's
me,
gonna
yeah.
it's gonna be 1 million copies in the first 2 weeks.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
thinking,
Yeah, that's
if
a
not the
given.
first
But
week.
yeah, I'll look up while
I wonder if they have pre-order data already. Like how many people have pre-ordered that game already. I'm curious.
Yeah.
that might be why they were comfortable delaying it.
It could be. I mean, Jen, have you delved into? Well, you did Red Dead Online, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did you think of that? I'm curious because I wonder how long they're gonna keep that up if they ever do another Red Dead.
So when I really got into playing online with Red Dead, it was like long after the game launched. And they had actually just announced that they weren't going forward with support anymore for Red Dead. And the amount of hackers and just huge assholes that were in the online version when I was playing, it actually forced me out of the game because I was just so sick of it.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily have the best take on it, but if you have if you have moderation and consequences for people who are hardcore hacking and griefing, then I think it works really well the way that they have their online system set up. But yeah, without the support there, it's really unfun.
Yeah. And so I can have the people listening to this podcast stop laughing at the number that Tom threw out there. GTA 5 sold 16 million copies in its first week.
Was that
How much
60 or 16?
16.
Okay.
And made about $1 billion in right off the bat.
But it's sold overall like what, 100 million at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was 11 million in the first day. So what I mean is if they get to that number or succeeds it,
it'll absolutely be over that.
Yeah. Then I'm like, okay, it's just a blip on the radar, this thing with the younger kids, if it's something they really want, all demographics will go buy a game like that. But I really think and then I'll let you jump in. What are you going to say, Tom? I keep repeating, but I really think what this sales is the test to see if these big tentpole, jokingly, we can call it quad A games, will still sell ridiculously well early on. Or if it's more, you'll have the early adopters, maybe it sells 8 million copies in the first day, but it has a longer tail. Like, I really feel like GTA is going to be, the moment where we see how the industry has grown in the last 12 years, if that has any effect on these, big time. And now, because Call of Duty doesn't sell like it used to either. So, GTA.
I mean, Call of Duty, I feel like the same thing that happened with Madden. It's just like, it's with it being an every year release.
Yeah.
You're just not going to get the buy-in that you used to. Also, everybody wants to play battle royales now, and they don't have the best battle royale. So that's another issue.
Yeah. And that's why, because what I feel is if GTA is healthy and still sells, 8 digits, copies, somewhere between 10 and 20 million in its first week or first 3 days or whatever the ridiculous record they have is, then Bethesda should be good with an Elder Scrolls, and studios can start saying, okay, we can dump money into these big games still and make our money.
I don't know, Mark. See, the thing with that is, I think you're on a slippery slope with GTA because it's single player, but it's not. It's also most people are playing that online. They're not playing the single player game.
Yeah. What I mean is that essentially everybody's going to try and copy the multiplayer thing for sure, but I
just don't know that it's a good gauge for like Bethesda because it's a totally different.
Bethesda is not going to get 10 to 20 million, but I mean, I just want GTA to sell so much that it might make executives stop forcing games to not have a single player component at all.
I don't know. I mean, even Call of Duty went that way. They had one or two games that didn't have single player,
and they didn't sell as well because I don't know. It's probably obviously we're not 100% experts in the industry knowing where it's going, but
I don't know what you're talking about, Mark. I'm an expert.
But I don't know. That's just how I feel, and it could be. I've been wrong many of times on many of things on this podcast and before, and on other podcasts. But that's just how I'm feeling on it there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really comes down to what happens after it launches.
Yeah.
Does it run for 12 years like GTA 5? Do they sunset it after 5?
Yeah.
It's hard to tell because GTA 5 is something that has never existed before.
Yeah.
I know that sounds stupid, but you know what I mean? There's no game that has had that longevity that is that type of game where you can have this online component and a single player component.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's the combo that does it. Yeah, and I think and getting into the second half of the topic here, I think the GTA 6 delay is going to have the effect that we're going to see games that we were hoping for in the spring become summer and fall games next year.
I mean, nobody wants to go up against it.
No,
yeah, it's unless if Horizon's putting out another game, maybe Horizon.
Yeah, they're
will come
good
out
at that.
the week after. Two of the biggest games of all time. Such bad luck. For those of you not getting that reference, Horizon Zero Dawn was the week before or after Breath of the Wild, and
the week before.
And Forbidden West released the week before Elden Ring.
Great timing.
Great timing. And so obviously, I heard somebody. I won't take 100% credit for that joke. Somebody had said, whenever GTA solidifies its date, that Horizon is announcing Horizon 3.
I think I saw that too. Yeah.
For that week. But the fun thing I want to talk about, and not try to be industry pundits here, is we've already seen the negative effect of the GTA ripple, in that Mind's Eye obviously was rushed early because they wanted to get it out before GTA, and the game is just a complete mess. And and you're wondering how many of these games that are going to be coming out that didn't get delayed, that tried to beat GTA to market, were just not ready. Mind's Eye is an exaggerated example, but you wonder if some of these things like
I mean, I know like half a dozen games got delayed because it was releasing within a week or two of GTA 6.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them.
It's just such a weird thing. Like, I don't think, like you said, I don't think there's ever been a game like it. So the release of the next one is so unpredictable. It's not like the stay away from Call of Duty thing that used to happen like 10 years ago.
You mean the thing that EA liked to do, where they would throw their best game, their next upcoming game up against the juggernaut of Call of Duty?
Yeah. It's their Battlefield right in the middle of
Titanfall.
Peak, and Titanfall, peak Call of Duty. But yeah, I really think for those of us that have been around a while, next spring's going to be interesting. And I want then tying it back into the kids thing. I'm really curious from my perspective. I want to see if she starts talking about it because her friends are talking about it. You know, like does it push through that for kids that have no history with 5? You know, does it? You know, obviously it's going to sell a lot, but I want to see. You know, that's how I knew Marvel Rivals was going to be pretty decent. Because immediately when it came out, she couldn't stop talking about it. I'm like, okay, all the kids are talking. You know, like.
Right.
You know, it's made it through the internet at this point. So
What
I'm
was
curious to see.
Well, I'm going to go off on a quick tangent here. What
Yeah.
was that game for you guys? Like, what game did you hear about on the playground or on the bus that you had to pick up and play?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I think for me it was Pokemon. I think it was
Yeah,
the Pokemon Red and Blue.
I think that's probably mine as well, because a bunch of my friends had it, and at the time, like, I don't even think we had a console at my house yet, because I grew up playing at my cousin's house on their consoles. And I think the Game Boy was like my first sort of console that I've ever owned that was like, you know, mine. I definitely had influence from friends, and then I think I definitely influenced some other friends to get it. So I would say Pokemon for sure.
What about you, Mark?
Yeah. So Tom, you're going to hate me for this. It is Final Fantasy VII.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. I became an RPG fan late. I tried to play Dragon Warrior and Final Fantasy on the NES, and even I think Breath of Fire 3 was the Super Nintendo one I picked up for a little bit at a friend's house, and nothing clicked. And then everyone was talking about Final Fantasy VII before it came out. Amongst my friends who I didn't even know liked those type of games, because we were very much a wrestling sports group.
Yeah.
And then like a bunch of them, you know, because, you know, at the time was at 96, 97. So I was like 12, you know, 12-year-old boys, that's sports and wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like 5 or 6 friends were like, oh, this new game, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then I picked it up, went and bought it, I think a little bit after release. And to start playing it, I got the word on the street before it even came out from friends. And then I was getting Game Informer at the time, and their cover story came out, which I still have. And that got me into it. And then I jumped in. That was the first game I can remember. You know, I'm not going to include like sports games and stuff. Because obviously I like baseball. So, you know, we all talked in the playground about triple play and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And World Series baseball and stuff like that. But yeah, it was Final Fantasy VII, and it set me on a course to where in the year of our Lord 2024, I played a combined, probably low estimate, 350 hours worth of RPGs.
Wow.
And yeah, so
I'm with you, Mark. I'm in the same boat. I'm with you.
Yeah, so it set me on a path. It got me out of just sports and wrestling, and then I found Metal Gear Solid, and then, you know, because really my gaming thing, my thing was sports wrestling and Zelda. Well, I played. And Zelda, I only started with Link to the Past because my dad played it, and it was one of the Super Nintendo games we had because he loved it, and that's why I started playing it, and was one of the first games I ever beat. So it was just those games. I think my first ever RPG was this Sega game called Shining in the Darkness. That's one of those old school first person dungeon crawlers.
Those are the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, it's very D&D, like 2.5 or whatever was out in the early to mid 90s. You know, so yeah.
Like Phantasy Star.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So Final Fantasy 7 was mine. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I know like everybody talked to, for me with Pokemon, everybody was always talking about, oh, how do you get Mew? How do you get, you know, all these, how do you do all this secret stuff? And it was all that playground talk of how you get, you know, 99 rare candies and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that was definitely the one I remember vividly.
And I will say the one thing to tie this all together, these first 2 topics, before we hand it over to Jen for the final topic, is I think the death of video game magazine coming to your home.
Yeah, I mean,
because
any type of real physical video game news, or because everything's instant now, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you didn't have the internet to read constantly like you do now. You got that one magazine and you read it. I would read Game Informer cover to cover, usually multiple times before the next one came. It would hype me up about games, and then as I got older, spread out to the other, found out, there's other gaming magazines. But yeah, I think the death of a video game thing, like being an event, and this is definitely old man yells at cloud, and also because I got my first issue of the new Game Informer like a couple of days ago, is like that event of the magazine came, and now I'm going to learn about all these games. Yep. I think change that thing that you discussed, like the game that you discovered because of friends and word of mouth. With news being instant nowadays, that's just gone. And a lot of people just like to follow whatever the popular thing is and not try to discover games for your friends. I don't know. Maybe I should interview Kitty Ashcat for the news hour. just
I'd like to hear that. I would like to hear that.
By the way, she's begging me to play Siege, but I'm a little worried about. Yeah, I don't know how she is as a gamer on there. But yeah, that's it. Cover. Yeah, I think for our thing, it's just it's a weird time in the industry for a lot of things. In terms of everything going on that would piss us off to talk about here. And then their sales numbers came out at the same time, and then it's just interesting. Talking about it, and speaking of interesting, they, some places just have money to get around, and they even throw it at, Jen, you have a game to talk about.
Yes. So speaking of, how there's so many multiplayer games now, and that's really all. It feels like sometimes there's all that there is to play. There are definitely times where I like my multiplayer games, and there are times where I don't want to talk to somebody else, and I just want to play a single player game. And Phas can be both of those things for me, Phasmophobia, because I can solo it. I can play with just, a couple friends privately, or I could play with random people if I wanted, which is, I've heard, a pretty miserable experience overall. But Phasmo is a game that has been around for, I want to say 5 years. I think they came out in 2020, Halloween of 2020. I'll double check. But I've been playing it pretty much like a month after it launched since then. And they have been reworking the game every once in a while with these pretty big updates and changes to make it more interesting, fix certain gameplay mechanics, or improve them, I should say. And I think they've done a really great job with the newest update, which is called Chronicle. It came out, I want to say, can't remember exactly when it came out. I think it came out about a month ago, maybe a little bit less. June 24th. Yeah, so a little bit less than a month ago, Chronicle came out. They're saying it's their latest major update. I don't know if it's going to be the last major update, but it's probably wrapping up a lot of the really big changes that they've been talking about bringing to the game. And I think it's really great. There were some mixed opinions on it because they introduced a whole new mechanic to collecting evidence, where they have video feeds that you have to collect. They have sound recordings that you can collect. If there's another one that I'm missing.
I feel that Phasmophobia, and this is non-bit Mark talking here. I feel that Phasmophobia's fans and fan base feel very much like the kind that hate change in terms
yes
of...
and no. So unfortunately, the Phasmophobia fan base is very gatekeepy, and it's specifically PC and console, because console is so much newer to the game than PC. A lot of people are PC players who have been playing for a long time are being very gatekeepy and like, I miss the old Phasmo. And so in a way, yes, I think you're right. But also there's a lot of newness that we've all been excited about for so long. And it started out with just one developer, and it's been taking, like I said, like 5 years to roll out all of these changes. So I think there are some things that people are really looking forward to, like personally, I'm really excited to be able to customize my character, which is dumb unless you know me, and then you're like, well, obviously you'd be excited about that. But that's like the simplest thing that they could have added when the game first launched within the year, I would say. But they've been holding off because they want to make better quality of life adjustments. And they're also not trying to sell a bunch of cosmetics and make extra money, which I think is nice too. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Specifically with this, I'm trying to think the overall reviews on the changes, I'd say mostly positive, where like I said, it changes the investigation process, where you used to have a whole book where you could fill up this book with photos, and each photo was worth a different amount of money depending on the quality of the photo. So you had like a star rating behind it. So now they only give you 5 photos. They all have to be unique photos, or you get less money for them. And then you also have to do, I forget if it's like 5 video clips and then 4 or 5 sound recordings. And you have all of these new objectives that have to do with that. Plus they changed the van. So before this update came out, if you were either someone who didn't like going inside, died all the time because you were not great at getting away from the ghost, or were just like scared, or, you know, wasn't really interested, it was kind of, in a way, like all you had to do was look at the board to see when the ghost was hunting. You could look at people's cameras and see if you could spot dots or orbs or whatever. Now you have way more freedom where you can control the video cameras from the van. You could press record. You can like pan the cameras. You could do a lot more than you were able to. So someone, like I said, who's either scared or prefers to just, you know, hang out in the van because they don't feel like dying every single game, you actually have more to do, which I think is nice.
And being in the van is also for people who, no matter what they do in the house, the ghost finds them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I like how they made the person in the van, for whatever reason they're in there. I like how they made them able to be a little bit more involved now. And I think I found personally anyway, like, I think Phasmo kind of got to a point where it got a little bit stale, and that's a lot coming from me. But it got a little bit stale because at one point the maps were just all old maps, that there was no newness there. There was no new ghosts. You know, the little updates that they had, there wasn't anything super exciting. So they did a kind of big overhaul over the course of the last like 2 years to add new equipment and a new shop in the game, and now Chronicle with all of their new investigation objectives. And I feel like it kind of rekindled it for a lot of people, at least for me and like a lot of the friends that I play with. But I really enjoy it. And now I see more of a reason to stay in the house and take the risk of trying to get the video recordings and the sound recordings and get my ass kicked by the ghost, because, you know, we're still figuring out the little secrets behind the devices and stuff, but also we're not like running in the house. We know all the tells of the ghost. We figure it out really quick and then we leave. Like, it's not, you know, like rinse and repeat anymore. It's there's a lot more RNG built in. The ghosts are smarter. So I think they've made some really good changes. And I would love to get your honest opinion on it, Mark, for whenever you want to play again.
Is that line about the ghost getting smarter just a shot at me?
Now they know where you are before you even know where you are, Mark.
Yeah. So my thought on this is,
they were so dumb before. Just kidding.
I think my question for you, as someone that plays both of these games, do you see the way they overhauled this as a way to could expand it to more people, unlike the like mini upgrades that like a Day by Daylight has been doing? Like, do you feel the refresh here is something they should do too? Or maybe I missed the refresh because it has been a while in Dead by Daylight. But
I get what you're. I think that there's a lot of nice quality of life things in Phasmo now that more people would enjoy. I think when it first came out, it was so super specific. Like, you really had to like creepy horror ghost content. So yeah, I feel like, I personally think, and a lot of people have been asking for Dead by Daylight 2, you know, like kind of how Overwatch did Overwatch 2. Just fix the code, build it, you know, build a new game from the ground up. I'm sure that I'm not a coder or anything, but I'm sure there are ways to write the code now for the newer aspects of the game that are so much easier than whatever it looks like from, was it 2016 when the game came out or whenever it was?
Yeah.
So I feel like they would be saving themselves a lot of stress on that in that regard, but I don't know. I can't even remember the last. Well, Dead by Daylight has been doing some quality of life updates, like they're finally addressing tunneling, face camping, and slugging. I think that's probably the biggest quality of life change to recently come to the game.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The I feel the refresh is
Definitely there needs to be a refresh, especially for a game like Phasmo, where like in Dead by Daylight, every match is a refresh in a way. In Phasmo, obviously every time you go out on, a ghost hunt is a refresh, but it's the same. It's different. It's the same exact. You're going up against the computer. It's not. You don't have the variability of going up against the killer, who's an actual person, and 3 other people on your team who are also operating their survivors.
So. Yeah, and I know that question's a little unfair because they're like 2 completely different genres of games. Mm-hmm. But I just feel in a live service game that's over a while, and the Dead by Daylight 2 thing runs into the problem we were talking about with GTA, and that I mentioned happened with Overwatch is how do you get the people to go from go from the old thing to the new thing, especially when they put thousands of hours into the old thing.
They would 1000% have to make everything transfer over.
Yeah,
like people have spent so much money on cosmetics and have logged so much time in Dead by Daylight that there's no way that you could be expected to start over on a clean slate with that game.
Yeah, so. And I feel that that's kind of the problem because the wrong choice of words once I explain what I'm saying. Why a Phasmo can do a refresh, because I know just following it tangentially, or through you playing it and popping in every so often, is that they have refreshed their leveling stuff so much in there that the going to this brand new thing isn't as scary as trying to do the brand new thing in Dead by Daylight, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Going to Dead by Daylight 2. And I will say, Jen, before we move on to Retro Roulette, I will give it an honest chance just for you.
I appreciate that. I think you'll find it interesting at the very least.
And also have Lance or whoever else plays with us yell to save me.
Yeah, we'll have our we'll play Protect the President again with you.
Protect the President.
Yeah.
And I still died.
Yep. I think you died in 2 separate occasions in the same exact spot in the same house.
Yeah, that was funny.
It's your death site now.
Speaking about Ghost and dying in the same spot a lot, Tom, what was our Retro Roulette game?
Yes, so this month, our Retro Roulette game was Ghostbusters 2 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and boy, was it a game. So I'll get my thoughts out of the way since I streamed it, and I tried to go back, but it wasn't pretty. Anyway, so Ghostbusters 2, I didn't look up what Ghostbusters 1 was. I don't know if it was just called Ghostbusters 2 because it was based on the movie. I don't know if there was a Ghostbusters.
There is.
I don't know if there was a Ghostbusters 1 game.
Yes. Yeah, it's a very infamous game. In that it's like you had to like make this money and go to different ghost hunts to make money and all this. It's a bad game. It's not like this game at all.
Well, this game's not good either.
The meaning it's not a side scroller or anything like that. From what I can remember,
this is typical franchise game for a franchise crap that was rolled out in the 80s and 90s. So in this game, I don't even know who you play as. I don't remember if they even tell you. But either way, you're one of the Ghostbusters. It starts off as a side-scrolling shoot 'em up, kind of. It's kind of Castlevania-esque and kind of. It's not I wouldn't call it a Metroidvania. I would not go that far. But it's weird because the first level they throw you in, and you immediately have to go left. Every game up to this point, you go right. So immediately you're like thrown off by this, and your first level is to go left, and you're not used to things coming at you from that direction. And there is only one good thing I will say about this game, and that is the degrees of freedom in your shooting angle. You can shoot at many different angles instead of just up, down, left, and right, and diagonal. There's multiple levels of diagonal you can shoot, which is nice, but you are never fast enough to make it work. You kind of have to leave it at one angle and just kind of go at that angle for the whole level. It took me like 10 times to get through that first section. It should not have. It was hard to decipher what was going to hurt you and what wasn't, and how it was going to hurt you. The whole thing is very confusing. But I finally made it through that. And then the second part of the game is driving sections. So there's all kinds of stuff in the road that you can avoid, but you can also shoot at things when you're traveling, and it'll drop power-ups and things. And then there's also spots where there's giant holes in the road that you have to jump over. Now, there was one section on stream that we made it to that I just couldn't get over. My timing, I couldn't get the timing right. I could not get over this section of road. So that's where my play ended, because that was it. I took an entire hour and I got through 1.5 sections of this game. That tells you how difficult it was for no good reason.
Yeah.
Also, this game holds the honor of the first game that gave me motion sickness. I'm thinking that this was a 30 FPS game, and the scrolling on the brick, for whatever reason, on the car stage, like after like 20 minutes, I was getting nauseous. So I had to turn it off. So I couldn't play it anymore. It was the oddest experience I've ever had with a 2D side-scrolling game.
Yeah.
Don't know why. So those are my thoughts. Where are you guys coming from with this, Mark? I believe you probably have a little more experience because we kind of threw this on Jen last minute.
Yeah. So essentially, same thing as you. Side scrollers aren't my favorite in either shooting or platforming too much. The trick I learned from the game FAQ of how in that first level the exact angle to have the gun to be able to shoot just about everything does work, but you also have to have good timing. And then if you miss the timing once, it throws off the rhythm of doing that. It's like when you're playing Sonic or anything and you just miss the rhythm of jumping, is when you get in trouble. It's an awful shooter, and then it is an awful driving game. I don't know. I would love to look up a video and see what fighting the final boss is like in this game. I
would hope it's cool because it's the ooze stuff. So you're in the Statue of Liberty. So I would hope it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So essentially, this is definitely one of those games that you learned how to play because it was the only one you have. I don't think this is a game that would ever be a choice of people, unless if you were very much I'm a Ghostbusters fan, I'm going to make myself like this Ghostbusters game. That's the only way, because every single aspect of it is very poor, even for a licensed game. Like I pulled up the original Ghostbusters, on my phone just to remember how that is. And it is kind of shitty, but it actually feels more like Ghostbusters than this game does. Because in the original Ghostbusters game, you were trapping ghosts in your trap as you go around, not shooting bullet hell things, and it's just a boring game. That's the worst part. Like even for these shorter games that are licensed games, like I just played it on stream, but a game like Jaws, while it can be beaten under an hour or quicker if you're better at it, it's at least entertaining to play. The shooting parts of that game are great. Not great, but like sort of you feel engaged. Everything feels terrible about the shooting when you're like just from a feel standpoint on the controller. It very much feels like when I think I played the Wayne's World game when I was doing that bad game night last year, and it just didn't make any sense with the movie, and it just felt like the game was forcing you to get hit at times. And yeah, everything overall was poor. Music wasn't great.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Music was bad.
Yeah, it just didn't give you. Didn't give you anything. Even for a licensed game, it was very, very poor. Yeah, and I don't know what if any of that came across from what Jen has, able to consume about this game.
So I'll start out by saying that what I was hoping I could be on this podcast, and you guys had told me it was Ghostbusters 2. I mentioned it to Dan, and he's like, "Wait, they made a second one?" And I said, "Yeah, apparently." And he said, "Well, God, the first one was so bad. Why would they do that?"
Yeah.
So, and then I believe he and Mark were talking about it briefly, and he said something like, "There's no way this one could be as bad as the first one then, because the first one was so bad." So I would like to ask Mark, I'm assuming you played the first one?
Yep.
Is it as bad?
This is worse.
This is worse. Okay.
And I just say it from a sheer fact of the first game is kind of boring. I'm getting rehashed of the memory. Is you just basically drive around like Spy Hunter-esque, Tom, if you know what I mean by the top-down car thing. That's how you drive the car, the Ecto-1. I was about to say Ecto-Cool for some reason. Ecto-1. That's how you drive that around, and then you go to different houses that are being haunted, and you capture ghosts and put them in the trap. And that's how you make money, you improve the stuff, and then you go fight Zool.
Okay.
Essentially, how that game is. It's like 41 minutes is like the average time to beat for it. But at least that feels like Ghostbusters in the sense of you're basically bringing ghosts. You shoot the thing, it looks really bad, what's supposed to be the plasma thing. You capture the ghost in that, you bring it to the trap shoots something up, puts it in the trap. Feels like what the Ghostbusters sort of do in the movie.
Right.
This game just feels like a shooter. And forgive me, I haven't watched Ghostbusters 2 as much as I've watched Ghostbusters. I don't remember shooting being really a part of the game. And that's what makes it worse. And even though it looks cooler, theoretically, from a graphic standpoint of the side view driving car, because you can see the whole outline of the car, the sprite of the car, I think the Spy Hunter-esque top-down is a much better way to do a driving section on the NES.
Especially if you're shooting, for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And, the main criticism of the first Ghostbusters game, and I bet Dan would agree with this, is it's just repetitive. And that's the problem. There's only like 3 places to go. You have to make sure you have gas in the car. There's a gas station. There's a shop, and then there's Zool. And, you just have to power up yourself enough to go fight Zool.
Yeah.
So it's like repetitive and it's like kind of how Jaws gets a little bit where I had to go back and forth between the 2 docks to level up. It's sort of the same concept there, essentially. But yeah, this game is just way worse because it's trying to be more of a game and it just fails at it at every level.
Right. And that's definitely the impression I got. Like you said, the whole franchise slop thing. It sucks because Ghostbusters is an amazing franchise, and it stinks that both games are so bad. But I mean, the music was annoying. And how do you mess up the Ghostbusters theme song that bad? That's like one of the best theme songs of all time, and it sounded so irritating the way that they did it.
It was horrendous.
Yeah, it's bad. The gameplay looked very difficult and awkward for no reason, like Tom said. It was just like the little Slimer ghosts looked like they were pooping on you, which is hilarious, but also very strange. It was like whoever made this game didn't really understand Ghostbusters at all and just made a ghost-like game. And we're like, yeah, this is Ghostbusters. I kind of wish that I played it so I could say, how much it infuriated me, which it probably would have. But just watching you play it, Tom, I give you a lot of credit for getting as far as you did, because that giant ditch in the road that you were trying all these different ways to get over it. I don't know what the heck you'd have to do, but it don't
know.
Yeah.
I tried everything I could to get through that, and it just never happened.
Yeah. It just seemed unnecessarily, maybe they just made it so ridiculously difficult so that someone couldn't turn around and say like, oh, I only beat it it only took me 40 minutes to beat it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It's one of those NES things. They were just hard for hard's sake.
Sure. Yeah.
Unfairly hard.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to go on a slight tangent here just because I know Jen has experience with the movie that I'm going to bring up. Going back to Jaws, I had a Phoenix Down moment on the podcast where I realized that the Jaws video game is 100% based off Jaws 4: The Revenge. Like, I was literally, if you listen to that podcast, I literally like zone out of the conversation because I'm having a brain breaking moment of, oh my God, it's seashells and starfish, and you're in islands, and you have a Jaws tracker, and you get into a submersible, and I'm just sort of
like, oh my God,
it's just Jaws 4.
Which is the
Mark's
worst
going
one.
through it on the podcast.
Yeah,
and then I think it's either Dan or Ant. One of them goes, yeah, and it spears Jaws with the front of the ship at the end, and I'm like, and there's a strobe light. And I'm like, and it was just like I had a knowing Jen just watched the movie, she can have that experience with me through just like, brain like busting moment of like, as they say in like a Phoenix Down moment when people realize why Phoenix Downs are feathers. The thing to bring back to life. It's like, oh yeah, I had that, and it was fun. And then at the end, I think I just go, and even the character looks like the actor that plays Michael in this movie. Yeah, so that is a thing where they very much and made a solid game out of a shitty movie by taking as much of the assets as they could and having good music and all that, and where both Ghostbusters games failed in that it didn't take any of the good at all from those movies and just
just
put
the
it
name.
out there. Yeah. It was. Tom, this was not an LJN special, right?
No, it wasn't. I thought it might be, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was on that level for sure. All right, let's give this a score, whatever we think it might be. Mark, what score would you give this?
Yeah, I'll go 1 out of 5. For the sheer fact, like I said, it gets everything wrong. It's kind of hard to do that. Like, it doesn't get a 0. Like, zeros are for games that are just broken, like unplayable broken games. Uncanny X-Men is pretty close to a 0.
That's like a half.
That game is pretty damn close to a 0. Yeah, this is a 1 just because it is a functioning game, and if you get good enough at it, with not doing the get good, like COD multiplayer thing, if you actually get good at it because you force yourself to play it a lot, you can probably beat the game. Like, it doesn't seem like...
Oh, sure. It
seems like very pattern recognition-y, and if you play it a whole lot of hours, you will eventually beat it and be able to beat it quickly. Yeah, it's 1 out of 5. It would have bumped up to a 2 if they would have done good music. But they even they
blew that too.
They blew that real bad. So yeah, I'm a 1 out of 5.
Jen, do you want to
give it
a score?
I'll give it a score. I would say I agree with Mark. I'm going to give it a 1 also. I feel like they just, like he said as well, they could have at least done like a banger soundtrack for it, and then it would have been less torturous for you guys to play it. I don't know. I think that if someone, like Mark also said, put in the time to learn the game, there's no way they would be having fun while doing it. It would be kind of like when I played Bionic Commando, and I was like, I will die or I will beat this game. Like, there's no in between. I feel like it would be a huge task to get through all of the annoyances to beat it. So yeah, I would say a 1.
Yep. 1s across the board. This game was horrendous. I do not recommend, but
I would recommend it to your worst enemy.
Yeah, maybe.
Is it like 2 out of 10 do not recommend?
Yeah, well, unfortunately that was not great, but hopefully this next one for this coming week or month rather will be better. So I think it's time we spin the wheel. All right, well, it's been a while since we've had a racing game. So we are going to be playing Automobile Lamborghini for the Nintendo 64.
That is such a fun name. I can't imagine this game being any less fun than that.
It's been a long time since I've touched this one, so it should be interesting. I'm excited. Mark, I'm sure is thrilled for another racing game.
Yeah,
so excited.
I will say because of the horrors I put myself through for the last 6 to 8 months in terms of games, I'm glad it's not a platformer.
There you go.
You're
Looking on the
welcome,
bright
Mark.
side.
You're welcome. All right. So that should be coming up. If you're listening to this, I've probably already streamed it because Mark will be going on vacation and I will be playing the Retro Roulette game. But check on the VOD. It'll probably be on YouTube as well. But make sure you check out all our socials for all that information. We're on Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram. I don't think we really touch Instagram, not often, but it's there. And YouTube. So go check us out on YouTube. All of our old streams, most of them at least, are up there. And if you are into horror streaming, go check out Jen at Roxy Foxy on Twitch.
Why, thank you.
Of course. We all love hanging out there. She's got a great community. So head on over there and watch her play some Phasmo or some Dead by Daylight. And maybe some new stuff coming.
Like Shark
No horse girl games. Yes, Shark Dentist, no horse girl game.
I like how I went for a legitimate answer and Jen just circled back on the joke.
All right.
That's why I missed the group of us together.
Yeah, I've missed it quite a bit. This has been fun. I can't wait to do it again. I want to thank you all for listening to this episode. Hopefully you will join us for the next one. For Mark and Jen, I'm Tom. We will catch you guys in the next episode.